Hey everybody, welcome to your horoscopes for this week. These are the horoscopes for the week ending December 5th, 2015. We are officially in December this week, which means we're in the last month of the year, and 2015 is almost over, if you can believe that. It seemed to have flown by lickety-split in the blink of an eye. Crazy, crazy, crazy stuff, but that's just how life goes, right? We're going to go ahead and get right to the horoscopes, and we're going to start, as we always do, with Aries. We got a kind of a difficult T-squared position with Uranus in your sign. And Uranus, of course, is in this position with Pluto and Mars. And it's going to get more and more and more intense as the week progresses, all the way to the end of the week when the moon moves into conjunction with Mars. So it's in opposition with Uranus. And this aspect really makes you feel like you are facing difficult situations, emotionally difficult situations when it comes to some of your relationships. This is one of those things where you're either dealing with people who are only there when they can get something out of it, but they're just not there when there isn't anything in it for them, or they don't have the time for it, or it's just not important to them, kind of a thing. And it really makes you feel, it really drags you down when you have people around you like that. It makes you feel like everything that you've done is just not important enough, and that is a terrible place to be. Now, the good news is, and I know it seems like there isn't going to be any good news if there's something like that, but the good news is that Uranus is in trine position right now with the Sun and Saturn, and at the beginning of the week especially, the Sun and Saturn are in very close conjunction. So you've got a Sun conjunction at the beginning of the week and a Moon conjunction at the end of the week. This is a really good balance of both the logic and emotion. So the biggest thing in this situation is to not let your feelings take over. Of course, if you need to reconstruct some of these relationships, maybe either put some boundaries, some really hardcore boundaries on them, or maybe even second guess whether you need to be in these particular relationships in this way or not. This particular trine, and especially with the Sun and Saturn in conjunction, is trying to tell you that your responsibilities to your plans and to your goals and to your dreams, this is part of it, this reconstruction of these relationships. It's really time to make sure that these relationships are either working in the benefit of everything that you want to do, or maybe they need to be put on the back burner for a little while, or maybe re-looked at a later time, because right now it's not convenient. You don't have to fix this issue while you're so focused on what you need to do at hand. So the bottom line here is that this is part of the whole growth process. It's part of the growth process of your goals and of your plans. And sometimes you have to have that reconstruction of those relationships that are there helping you to make sure that everything runs smoothly. So you guys have a great week with that. Taurus, you may be finding yourself thinking about past events this week. And we're not just talking about past events that happened to you, but maybe looking back on some things in I could have done things a little bit different sort of a way. Now, of course, we're talking about things that maybe you had control over, and we're also talking about circumstances that you had no control over, situations where somebody else put you in that position to feel the way that you did. Now, this may seem a little bit inactive instead of proactive, but it is necessary because these things are coming up for a reason. They're still bothering you on some level, and even if you don't feel that bother quite to the extent as you did at the time, you're still carrying it around with you. Now, this is not just a look at it, embrace it for what it is, identify it, and let it go and move on with it kind of a thing. These are things that you've probably already revisited, and you're revisiting them again. And you may be wondering why you're doing that. The biggest thing about this situation is really learning something new from this situation. It's not just about how you feel, but what about the outside circumstances of this memory is something that you can learn from that situation that might help you out in a situation currently right now. It's also a beautiful opportunity to be able to learn something new about not just the situation, but again, all of the circumstances and the environment around the situation. There's all kinds of fantastic things that we can learn from a situation, even as difficult as some situations can be in your life. So this week, it's not just about taking a look at the past and, going through the motions of letting go of how it made you feel. But now it's time to learn a little bit about why it made you feel that way and why you're feeling that way now in this current situation. It will definitely help you to solve any issues that you are going through in a current situation this week. So you guys have a great week with that. Gemini, this week it's 1,000 ideas. Looking around your environment, your home, and your foundation, it's 1,000 ideas coming to your head of what it is that you want to do to make improvements or make the place what you want it to be. And this is a beautiful thing because the Geminis are the ones that have some brilliant ideas, and they are definitely full of them. But every once in a while, the Gemini gets an idea overload, where you've got so many things that you want to do that you just can't even pick one to start with. And it puts you in a situation where you're spending so much time thinking about all these things that you want to do in such a sporadic way that you can't actually put your hands down to get things done. Well, this week, it's time to stop that and actually spin that wheel, let it stop, and focus on one thing and getting it done. Now, if you keep these things going on in your mind all, for eternity or for long periods of time, what tends to happen is, one, of course, you don't feel very successful because you're not getting anything done, and you get frustrated because you're not getting anything done. And this, of course, starts all kinds of other issues like beating yourself up over things that are in your control, but you didn't take the time to control them, if that makes sense. So this week, it's time to stop the madness on that. Choose one thing and let your ideas come out of your brain into your hands to be able to work those ideas into an actual physical manifestation of the masterpiece that you guys can create. And by doing this, you'll want to move on to the next thing and the next thing. And before you know it, you're going to get a lot of this stuff accomplished before you even realize that you're really putting the time and effort into it. So you guys have a great week with that. Cancer, with the moon starting off the week in your sign and her moving into square position with Venus right as the week begins is going to cause a little bit of an issue for you guys to start the week off. When this aspect starts to feel like you have to either choose between one person that you love and another person that you love, or those that you love and something that you love. And this is a very difficult decision for any Cancerian to make, because either way you choose, you feel like you're failing at the other one. And it causes this really sort of self-destructive need to shut down and not deal with it at all. Most of the time, the person that is going to suffer from this is you more than anybody else. And everybody else does wind up suffering for it a little bit as well. So this week it's really time to end this very self-destructive pattern. When it comes down to it, it's not always so black and white. You don't have to choose between one or the other. You can choose both and find a way for those two things to coexist within each other. Of course, it's going to take a little bit of work, but the good news is that you Cancerians are the perfect signs to create harmony wherever it is that you go. You have the key, you have the secret, and you know how to do it. You just need to believe in and have faith in your own ability to be able to do this. So this week, trust in yourself and the ability to be able to make everything that you want to do and everything that you love in this life work together. Because trust me, you deserve to have that happy, harmonic, symbiotic life around you. And you definitely deserve to have that beautiful symbiotic energy swirling all around you in all aspects of your life. So you guys have a great week with that. Leo, it is a big week for Leos this week as the moon moves into your sign on Monday and Tuesday. She is definitely moving into an extremely favorable position for you Leos this week. First of all, she moves into grand fire trine position with Uranus, the Sun, and Saturn, and then of course she also creates a grand sextile on top of that with the Sun, Saturn, and Mars. And it's really powerful energy that's driving everything that you do this week. When it comes to the things that you do on a day-to-day basis, the energy is there and ripe for the picking to put the best of what you got into everything that you do this week. And nothing is considered menial at this point. Even the most mundane tasks are very important to really put the energy into and follow through. Because this kind of energy not only creates beautiful things happening, but it also creates the beginning foundations of brilliant ideas at the same time. We're talking success when it comes to relationships. We're talking success when it comes to your goals and dreams. And most of all, with Uranus in this particular aspect here, we're talking about big changes and big growth opportunities on a very positive scale for you Leos. So it is a powerful week astrologically for you guys. And if you don't use that energy wisely, you're going to be regretting it next week. I can guarantee that. So you guys have a great week with that. Virgo, while Jupiter's trine with Pluto has been making beautiful changes when it comes to your relationships and really expanding and growing these relationships into many different levels, Jupiter's square with Mercury towards the end of this week is going to cause a bit of a challenge when it causes a bit of a communication problem actually in terms of being able to achieve your goals or achieve any plans that you have going on right now. And these goals and plans could be in many different aspects of your life. But when you feel like so empowered in one aspect of your life, you kind of sort of grow this mindset up over time that just because things are going great over here doesn't mean that something's going to come in from over here to screw everything up. Now, that's not the mindset, of course, that you want to go into this week with at all. It's not going to do you any good. When it comes to your goals and plans, whatever it is that you're trying to do, you want to go in with a positive mindset. Where's that Virgo spirit that I got this, that this is so mine and I'm taking it? No, of course you don't want to be overly egotistical, but you do have to have some faith in yourself. It gives you a confidence that tells the other person what you're communicating. And not just I would like to have this, it would be really cool, but hey, I know I need to have this because I meant to have it because it's mine. And knowing that you can put everything into this in order to get what you want. So this week, it's about taking that positive energy that you have in the relationship aspects of your life and really opening up the door for it to seep in all aspects of your life. Because trust me, you don't deserve for something to come in and ruin everything all the time. You deserve for things to keep rolling smoothly. So you guys have a great week with that. Libra, Venus says goodbye to your sign this week, which might actually leave you feeling a little bit sad, as Mars is still in your sign and is unfortunately in T-squared position with Pluto and Uranus. And this aspect is only going to get more intense as the week comes to a close, when the moon moves into your sign and into conjunction with Mars, just about the time that Venus is leaving your sign. Now this may kind of make you feel like you're being left alone, that everything and everyone that you love is just really not there for you. You're left alone in a time where you really need the support the most. Whether it's time to make a decision and you're just forced to make the decision on your own, it's really difficult to feel, especially for Libras who always seem to put everything into everybody else. It's really hard to feel like you're fighting something alone when you should have the support of others to come in and back you up. But at the same time, Mars aspects with Mercury, Saturn, and the sun this week are showing you a powerful means of learning how to do these things on your own. Now, it's not saying that you don't know how to do anything or that you can't do anything on your own. It's sort of an internal, do I believe that I can accomplish this on my own, kind of a lesson that's really important. And what's really beautiful about this opportunity is you have the means of being able to go through this and put your own personal spin on it with no other suggestions outside of what you've got going on. You can personalize it. You can make it entirely your own. So this week, use that feeling to your own advantage, and rather than feel like everybody has turned their backs on you and they're just not there, take that and use it for what it's worth, even if it means that you've taken it to learn that you're not going to put so much time into everybody else if you're not going to see some of that reciprocated back, because that is a very important lesson for a lot of Libras that I know. So you guys have a great week with that. Scorpio, Venus is about to move into your sign at the end of this week, and as she does, her trine with Neptune is a beautiful opportunity to really understand where some of these old patterns that deal with financial difficulties come from, and why it's important to really look at them and do something about them. Most of us don't realize that when it comes to things like money, our own preconceived ideas about money really stand in our own way. And even sometimes our earliest memories of money have a tendency to get in the way and block our abilities to be able to have the financial abundance that we would like. And also, preconceived ideas that financial abundance is evil is one of those things. One of those big things that society really fights with these days. But this week it's time to take a look at those old preset mindsets there. What is your preset mindset? Is it the fact that you're always broke, or you don't like to be always broke, or you have this fear of being always broke? Which, by the way, if you're always broke, there's really no reason to fear being always broke because you're already there anyways, right? The trick is to really look at these and see where these mindsets, what is that first thought that comes up in your mind every single time when it comes to financial difficulty? When you can identify that, you can eliminate it and change your thought process to think something different. So instead of, I'm sick and tired of being broke all the time, you change that to, I have everything that I need and life is good right now. As long as you can start doing that, you start to take yourself out of that broke place and put yourself into the place of abundance where you belong. And you guys do deserve to be there. Everybody deserves to be there. And you definitely will get there if you're willing to put the work into it. So you guys have a great week with that. Sagittarius, happy birthday to all the awesome Sagittarians born this week, especially two awesome Sagittarians that I know. And the first one is my big sister Josette. Her birthday is this week, and she's an amazing sister. I tell you what, it has been just such a journey of a life that she and I have had together, and I just couldn't have picked a better person to have taken that journey with. So I hope you have an absolutely beautiful day on your birthday, Josette. And thank you for being my sister. And I also want to say happy birthday to somebody who is just about as close as can be to a sister. And that would be my best friend, Sherry. Her birthday is at the end of this week, and we are planning a massive birthday party celebration with tons and tons of food and some other stuff that we're not going to mention. But Sherry has always been awesome. She's been with me from the very beginning, and every single reading that I do, I'll have you all know, she had it done first because she was my guinea pig for everything. So happy birthday to you, Sherry, and I can't wait to hug you when I see you on your birthday. But for the rest of you Sagittarians, this week is an amazing week. The Sun and Saturn are in very close conjunction with each other, kicking off the week. And it's a very beautiful energy to really shine on those responsibilities to your own goals, dreams, and plans this week. Now, they're also trying position with Uranus, and this is a really powerful because it's really pointing at just how much power you have in your own manifestations or your own dreams and goals. The bottom line here is what you put into these dreams and what you put into these plans, that's what you're going to get out of it. The more you put into it, the more awesomeness you're going to get out of it. Now, of course, the Sun and Saturn are still in squared position with Neptune, and that is a little bit of a difficulty. It's going to continue to be a little bit of a difficulty, especially as while you're in this empowered position, this squared position here is going to kind of open those doors to those fears and might actually, you know, give them the opportunity to kind of sort of sneak their way into what you're doing. But, the power in your hands lies in whether or not you're going to let those fears in. We got to battle those fears all the time. That's never going to change no matter what you do. I've been doing this for several years, and I still fear that everybody's just going to say these horoscopes suck, and I'm not listening to them anymore. We all go through it. So you've got to battle through those fears, face those fears, because you know that you need to do that in order to be successful. And the more successful you are, the bigger the fears you're going to face. So this week, it's time for you guys to shine. And you guys have a great week with that. Capricorn, Pluto is of course the top point in a T-square with Uranus and Mars this week, and this T-square, of course, the energy of that is going to intensify towards the end of the week when the moon moves into conjunction with Mars. So we've got some very aggressive and very emotional energy involved in this T-squared position. And it really this aspect is going to make you feel like it's you against everybody else, and that's always a crappy place to be, okay? It just feels like poo to actually even be in this situation. But Pluto's continued trine with Jupiter is showing you that there's a reason why you're feeling the way that you do when it comes to these relationships, giving you the opportunity to see that sometimes you have to go through this in order to grow inside of that relationship. Now, of course, this emotional and aggressive and frustrating part is difficult, and no one wants to deal with it, especially not Capricorns, you know. It kind of gets in the way of your schedule, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's important. And this week, you really ought to take the time to enjoy the difficult part of the process too, because there is always something to enjoy in it, even though you'd rather get past it and move on to the awesome leveling up of the relationship part, if you know what I mean. But everything has its purpose, including the difficult times. And there's always some beauty in the most difficult of times. So you guys, have a great week with that. Aquarius, this week is all about focusing on identifying and getting rid of some of those old beliefs that you got going on in there. Now, of course, this is not the Aquarians' number one favorite pastime. I don't think it's anybody's number one favorite pastime, really. But for Aquarians, dealing with emotional stuff is just not something that they want to do, period. They'd rather avoid it. Unfortunately, we can't avoid it, guys. We have to face it at some point, or it eats you alive. And not only does it eat you alive, but whatever it is that you want to do right now, it's going to get in the way of your progress in that. So this week really is time to take a look at some of those old beliefs and some of those old roots and really come to terms with them. Identify them, embrace them, cry over them. I know that's difficult, but nobody needs to know about it. And let them go. Just turn them into, this gives you an opportunity to take that belief and rewrite that belief for yourself. Something that actually works for you. Now, why is it so important to do this? Because everything that you're doing is going to be affected by these old beliefs. And if they're still there, you're not going to get very far. And if I know Aquarians, the biggest thing about Aquarians is that they never want to stop achieving, and they never want to stop growing. They never want to stop being better than what they were before. And if you still have these old beliefs and old mindsets that are still stuck inside of you, there is going to come a point where you stop and you can't go any further. And there really is nothing more frustrating than somebody telling an Aquarian no, even if it's something deep inside themselves. In fact, that's probably the most frustrating of all. So this week, just bite the bullet and do what you got to do, because once it's done, and you can move on to greener pastures. And you guys have a great week with that. And finally, Pisces. Neptune is still in squared position, of course, with the Sun and Saturn. And being that these planets are in very close conjunction this week, it is definitely going to cause a problem for you. In fact, the intensity of this problem becomes more as these planets are more conjunct with each other. It sort of feels it, or it sort of makes you feel like there's a big wall in between you and everything that you want to accomplish, or everything that you've ever dreamed of. There's just this giant wall in between you and that, and you can't seem to get over that wall. Now the good news is, towards the end of the week, Venus moves into trine position with Neptune, and this is the counterbalance that this really difficult aspect with Neptune and Saturn needs to have right now, because this counterbalance, or this trine between Neptune and Venus, is really coming in and showing you the beauty of what it is that you want. Now, let me just explain here really quick. When you are faced with everything that you've ever wanted, and it's right there in front of you on a silver platter, it's actually just as scary, if not scarier, than facing the ultimate failure of everything you've ever wanted. It really is no different. There's a lot of change that needs to be made in order to accept the next step. There's a lot of things that you have to do. And of course, there's the biggest thing. Are you even qualified to do it? What if you get it and you screw it all up? All of these what ifs are going to continue to get in your way. This week, it's time to really see what could go right in these situations. Stop looking at what could go wrong or what could fail, and start looking at what could be good about these situations. What can you accomplish out of these situations? And how beautiful are these dreams really going to be when you do accomplish them? Doing this is going to help you out more than you even thought you needed help with it. So you guys have a great week with that. Thanks so much for watching the horoscopes this week. I'm Melissa Bruce, the Heavy Metal Psychic. Don't forget that 13-card tarot for 2016. We are now officially in the first week of December, which means we've got 4 weeks left, and it is gone until 2017. So if you haven't gotten your orders in yet, don't forget to get those orders in. Again, I'm Melissa Bruce, the Heavy Metal Psychic. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next week. Have a great one.